You thought we were done? Not even close. The golden age of American diesel built more legends than one list can hold. We're talking about the forgotten giants, the trucks that hauled America's freight while the famous ones got all the glory. Some of these rigs came from brands that no longer exist. Some outlasted the companies that built them. All of them still turn heads every time they roll. Buckle up. This is the second chapter, number 10, Diamond Reo Raider. Most people have never heard of the Diamond Reo Raider. That is exactly why it belongs on this list. To understand Diamond Reo, you have to go back to two separate companies, Diamond T and Reo Trucks, each with roots stretching into the earliest days of American trucking. Reo was founded in 1904 by Ransom E. Olds, the same man who founded Oldsmobile. Diamond T traced its origins to 1905, when founder C.A. Tilt began building vehicles in Chicago. Both companies built premium, upmarket trucks with strong reputations for quality. In 1967, White Motor Corporation combined the two brands to form the Diamond Reo Trucks division. Through the years, as either an independent enterprise or under corporate ownership, Diamond T alone produced approximately 250,000 trucks, a legacy that speaks for itself. The Diamond Reo C1116 series, which included the Raider, arrived in the early 1970s and featured impressive powertrain options for its era. The Raider was available with Cummins NTC 335, NTC 350, NTA 370, and Detroit Diesel 12V71N engines, serious Class 8 power plants that meant business on any highway. The truck was engineered with a one-piece composite tilting hood and fender assembly, a forward-thinking design that made engine access dramatically faster and easier than conventional designs of the period. The Raider's story is one of the most dramatic in American trucking history. Despite strong engineering and an excellent reputation among operators who drove it, Diamond Reo Trucks Inc. was forced into bankruptcy on December 6, 1974, barely 3 years after the Raider arrived. Yet that short window of production was enough to create a following that never disappeared. In 1975, Loyal Easterland bought the rights and restarted limited production to order, which meant that every Diamond Reo built after that was essentially a custom-order truck for an operator who specifically wanted one and no one else. When a TV series called Movin' On ran on NBC in 1974, the show featured a Diamond Reo Raider in episode 11, giving this underdog truck a brief moment of national television exposure. Collectors and trucking historians today prize surviving Diamond Reo Raiders precisely because of their short production run and dramatic corporate story. A truck that should have been forgotten instead became a cult legend. Number 9. Ford LTL 9000 Louisville Line. Ford built the biggest truck factory in the world. Then they built a semi-truck that people still can't stop talking about. At the end of the 1960s, Ford constructed the Kentucky Truck Assembly Plant in Louisville, Kentucky. When it opened in August 1969, it was the largest truck manufacturing facility in the entire world, covering 2.7 million square feet. The truck that the plant was built to produce was Ford's all-new L-Series, colloquially called the Louisville line, and it represented Ford's first dedicated Class 8 conventional truck program. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Ford received 4,900 orders before a single Louisville truck had even been produced. At introduction, the Louisville line encompassed 22 models covering delivery, construction, and over-the-road applications. By the time the LTL 9000, the long-nose, long-haul flagship of the lineup, hit the market, Ford had a legitimate competitor to the Kenworth W900, the Mack Superliner, and the Peterbilt 359. The LTL 9000 used a front-hinged tilting hood, the same design concept adopted by the Mack R series and Kenworth W900, which gave mechanics full access to the engine bay from the front. Engine choices were serious. Operators ran Detroit Diesel 6V92TA engines, Cummins NTC Big Cam engines, and Caterpillar 3406B units, all paired with Fuller Road Ranger transmissions ranging from 9 to 13 speeds. A 1990 LT9000 with a Caterpillar 3406B, putting out 350 horsepower, was a very capable highway truck in anyone's book. Drivers who spent real miles in these trucks speak highly of the cab design. The visibility and dash layout were considered among the best of any truck of the era. One veteran operator with decades in multiple truck brands noted that LT9000s hauling coal were routinely grossing 150,000 pounds and clocking over 1 million miles on their cabs and frames while remaining solid and tight. Ford sold its heavy truck operations to Freightliner at the end of 1996, and production of the Louisville and Aeromax lines ended in 1998, with the trucks re-entering production as Sterling trucks. The fact that people are still running 1979 and 1993 Louisville Fords as daily work trucks in 2026 tells you everything about how well these rigs were engineered. Number 8. GMC Astro 95. General Motors only built one Class 8 cab-over truck in the modern era. They swung for the fences, and they absolutely connected. The GMC Astro 95 debuted for the 1969 model year, replacing the brutalist, boxy crackerbox cab-over that preceded it. The design process for the Astro began back in 1965 with wind tunnel testing, an almost unheard-of level of aerodynamic engineering attention for a heavy truck of that period. The result was a cab-over unlike anything else on American roads. The most striking feature of the Astro was its windshield, 20,821 square inches of glass, combined with ultra-thin corner posts that gave drivers a panoramic, almost unobstructed forward view. Fleet managers and drivers who worked in urban environments, where pedestrian visibility and tight maneuvering were daily requirements, immediately recognized what that windshield meant in practical terms. The no-hood cab-over layout also made the Astro dramatically easier to maneuver in city streets and loading docks than any long-nose conventional truck could ever be. The cab itself was built from aluminum panels riveted and welded to extruded aluminum headers with steel doors on early models and fiberglass reinforced plastic doors on later versions. The cab was available in 3 lengths, 55, 75, and 87 inches to accommodate different operational needs. The wraparound dashboard placed the speedometer and tachometer directly in the driver's line of sight, with secondary gauges arranged off to the side in an ergonomic layout that was genuinely ahead of its time. Engineers and designers at General Motors Design Center put serious thought into this cab, and it showed. The Astro was marketed exclusively with diesel engines from day one. The base power plant was the Detroit Diesel 6-71N, with the Detroit 8V71 and Cummins N series as options. By 1972, the Detroit 12V71, a V12 diesel engine, became available as an option, rare and extraordinary. By 1977, the Cummins KT450 and Caterpillar 3406 joined the lineup for operators who needed maximum power. An optional drag-foiler aerodynamic kit was offered that reduced aerodynamic drag by up to 34%, a remarkable claim for the early 1970s. General Motors produced the Astro 95 from 1969 to 1987, an 18-year production run. In 1986, GM created the Volvo-GM joint venture, and the Astro was phased out the following year. General Motors has never built another Class 8 cab-over truck. The Astro 95 remains the only one they ever produced in the modern era. And given how well-loved it still is among trucking enthusiasts, that feels like a chapter that ended too soon. Number 7. White Road Boss. The White Motor Company built trucks for almost a century, but it was the Road Boss that carried their legacy deepest into the golden era of American long-haul trucking. White Motor Company was a giant of American commercial trucking. By the time they had consolidated Diamond Reo, Autocar, and Freightliner under their corporate umbrella through the 1950s, White was essentially running a collection of premium truck brands across multiple market segments. Their own trucks, the White Line proper, were built for fleets who wanted solid, reliable, no-nonsense highway equipment. The White Road Boss arrived in approximately 1975, replacing the 9000 series as White's flagship conventional semi-tractor. It was available with a range of powertrains covering 250 to 350 horsepower, with engine choices from Cummins, Detroit Diesel, and Caterpillar, the three trusted names that serious trucking operations demanded. The Road Boss shared cab components with its corporate siblings, including Autocar, a heritage that brought a tough, proven cab architecture to White's top-of-line product. White Motor Company itself went bankrupt in 1980, a casualty of the economic turbulence of that era. Volvo acquired the truck production operations and continued building White-branded trucks through the 1980s. The White nameplate itself finally disappeared in 1997. But the Road Boss and its era represent the peak of White's long-haul ambitions. The truck that the company built when they were fighting their hardest to compete with Peterbilt and Kenworth for the attention of serious owner-operators. Today, White Road Boss trucks from this era are genuine collector's pieces. Their rarity, the result of a relatively short production window before White's bankruptcy, makes finding a restored example a real event. Trucking historians who specialize in the White era consider the Road Boss one of the most underappreciated semi-trucks of the 1970s. Number 6. Western Star 4800/4900. Western Star was born in Canada, built for the most brutal working conditions on Earth, and became one of the most respected premium semi-truck brands in North America, and almost nobody outside the trucking industry knows that story. Western Star's origins trace directly back to White Motor Corporation. In 1967, White Motor Corporation started the Western Star division, officially called White Western Star, with a new manufacturing plant established at Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. The company shared headquarters with White in Cleveland, Ohio, but its soul was entirely Canadian, built for logging operations, oil fields, mining halls, and mountain routes that would destroy lesser trucks before lunch. Early Western Star trucks used cab components from Autocar, another White subsidiary, which gave them the same tough, uncompromising cab architecture that Autocar was famous for. When White went bankrupt in 1980 and Volvo purchased White's truck business, the Western Star brand was specifically excluded from that sale. Instead, it was sold to Bow Valley Resources and Nova Corporation, keeping it independent. In 1991, Western Star Trucks was acquired separately, eventually finding its current home under Daimler Truck North America. The 4800 and 4900 model families from the 1970s through the 1990s represent Western Star at its most essential. These were conventional long-nosed trucks built with one priority above all others: surviving conditions that would kill a standard highway truck. The 4800 series was the workhorse, steel-tough, mechanically straightforward, and capable of running in extreme environments without complaint. The 4900 series added more customization options and was positioned as a more premium offering for owner-operators who wanted the Western Star reputation alongside a truck they could spec to their exact requirements. The standard configuration for the 4800 included the Cummins M11 with 370 to 400 horsepower, mated with an Eaton 18-speed transmission and double alloy fuel tanks. These were not trucks built for fuel economy or aerodynamic refinement. They were built for strength, longevity, and reliability in the harshest possible operating environments. Western Star's reputation in the logging, oil field, and mining sectors is second to none. In Canada and the Pacific Northwest, a Western Star from this era is not a vintage curiosity. It is often still a working machine, hauling loads in conditions where nothing else would be trusted to do the job. Number 5. International Harvester Loadstar Fleetstar. International Harvester has one of the longest and most complex histories in American commercial trucking, and the Loadstar and Fleetstar series represent the period when IH was genuinely everywhere on American roads. The company behind these trucks traces its corporate history to 1832, making International Harvester one of the oldest business entities in American manufacturing. The merger of McCormick Harvesting Machine Company, Deering Harvester Company, and 3 smaller agricultural equipment firms created International Harvester. And just 8 years after its formation, the company had become the 4th largest corporation in the United States. The Loadstar series, introduced in the 1960s, was International's core commercial truck lineup through a critical period of American trucking growth. The interstate highway system was being built. Freight demand was exploding. Trucking companies needed reliable, hard-working equipment in large quantities, and IH delivered. The Loadstar covered a wide range of applications from regional delivery to long-haul freight, and it was powered by IH's own diesel engines as well as available Cummins and Detroit diesel options. The Fleetstar, which overlapped with the Loadstar era in IH's lineup, was aimed at heavier-duty applications and fleet buyers who needed maximum payload capacity with proven mechanical reliability. These trucks were built at a time when IH was firmly positioned as one of the top truck manufacturers in North America, competing directly with Mack, Ford, and the West Coast brands. What made the IH trucks of this era distinctive was the corporate culture behind them. International Harvester brought agricultural and industrial equipment engineering discipline to its truck division. These were not trucks built by people who only understood highway transport. They were built by engineers who understood how to make machinery survive hard work in demanding environments, season after season. That DNA showed in the Loadstar and Fleetstar's reputation for durability in fleet service. IH trucks were considered a Midwest truck by many in the industry, a brand that dominated the central United States in particular, with enormous fleet penetration across agricultural hauling, construction supply, and general freight. You simply could not drive through the American heartland in the 1960s and 1970s without sharing the road with International Harvesters on a constant basis. Number 4. Autocar A64. Autocar is one of the most respected names in the history of American commercial trucking, and it is also one of the least famous outside of the people who actually worked with these trucks. Autocar Company was founded in 1897, making it one of the oldest truck manufacturers in the United States by any measure. The company built its reputation on a simple but uncompromising philosophy: build trucks for operators who needed maximum durability and were willing to pay for it. This was never a mass-market brand. Autocar trucks were bought by serious operators, construction companies, heavy haul specialists, and fleets that needed equipment they could depend on for the long term. White Motor Corporation acquired Autocar in 1953, and the brand continued operating under White's umbrella through the 1970s and into the 1980s. The acquisition gave Autocar the resources of a larger corporate parent, while preserving the engineering identity that made the brand valuable. Autocar's reputation, often compared directly to Mack in terms of rugged build quality, survived the corporate transition largely intact. The A64 series, which represented Autocar's conventional cab highway tractor in its various forms through this era, was known as a truck that was built for use for 25 years. That was not an advertising slogan. It was an engineering target. Autocar used heavy-gauge steel construction throughout, with a focus on frame rigidity and mechanical durability that prioritized long service life over initial purchase price or fuel economy. The Autocar cab design shared components with other White brands during the corporate era, which meant that operators buying into the White dealer network could spec an Autocar with familiar drivetrain components from trusted suppliers. Cummins, Detroit Diesel, and Caterpillar engines all found their way under Autocar hoods, mated with fuller transmissions and heavy-duty rear axle packages suited to whatever load requirements the operator faced. After Volvo's acquisition of White, Autocar was eventually sold off separately and continues in production today as a vocational truck manufacturer, one of the few truck brands from the classic American trucking era that can genuinely claim an unbroken production lineage from the 19th century into the present. That kind of survival is not luck, it is engineering reputation, earned one hard mile at a time. Number 3. Kenworth K100 Aerodyne. While the W900 got the glory, the Kenworth K100 Aerodyne was the cab-over king that took the long-nose company's engineering and put it inside one of the most aerodynamically advanced semi-truck cabs of its era. The K100 was Kenworth's flagship cab-over truck, produced alongside the W900 as the company's answer to operators who needed a cab-over's compact length but refused to sacrifice the Kenworth standard of quality. The Aerodyne version, with its distinctive raised roof sleeper, became one of the most recognizable big rigs on American highways during the 1970s and 1980s. The K100 Aerodyne's cab design was a genuine engineering achievement. Kenworth engineers created a cab that offered dramatically better aerodynamics than the slab-fronted cabovers that many competitors were selling, while also providing superior interior space through the raised roofline. The Aerodyne sleeper gave drivers the headroom and comfort to actually rest on long-haul routes, a direct response to operators who needed their drivers rested and productive. The K100 competed directly against the International TranStar II, the Freightliner FLC, and the GMC Astro for fleet business during the peak years of cab-over popularity. It was available with the full range of Kenworth powertrain options, Cummins, Detroit Diesel, and Caterpillar engines, paired with the transmission options that operators preferred for their specific duty cycles. Federal length regulations in the United States changed in 1982, relaxing the overall length limits that had previously made cab-overs so attractive to freight operators. Once conventional long-nose trucks could haul the same trailer length within legal limits, the cab-over's main advantage disappeared. The K100 remained in production until 1991 as the regulation change gradually shifted the market away from cab-overs, but the trucks that were already on the road continued working for decades afterward. Kenworth produced the K100 in Renton, Washington, the same facility that produced the W900. That shared heritage meant that K100s benefited from the same build standards and quality control that made Kenworth's conventional trucks famous. To this day, the K100 Aerodyne has a devoted following among cab-over enthusiasts who consider it the finest American cab-over semi-truck ever built. Number 2. Brockway 760. Brockway trucks are the ghost of American trucking, a brand that vanished in 1977, but whose trucks have never entirely disappeared from the roads they used to rule. Brockway Motor Trucks was based in Cortland, New York, and built heavy-duty trucks from 1912 until 1977. For much of that 65-year span, Brockway was known as the Husky brand, a nickname that perfectly captured the company's product philosophy. These were heavy, rugged, powerful trucks built for operators who needed maximum durability and were willing to accept a heavier, more expensive truck in exchange for longer service life. The Brockway 760 and related conventional trucks from the 1950s through the 1970s were available with a range of diesel engines from Cummins and Detroit Diesel, as well as Mack's own power plants, a connection that reflected the corporate relationship between Brockway and Mack. Brockway's 700 series trucks of the mid-1970s actually used the Mack R-Series cab under the skin, with Brockway's own front-end styling applied on top. This was the arrangement that, according to trucking historians, contributed to Brockway's eventual closure. Competing with Mack on price using Mack's own cab structure was a challenge that Brockway could not sustain. Mack Trucks itself closed the Brockway operation in 1977, ending 65 years of truck manufacturing in Cortland, New York. When the plant closed, some 1,700 workers lost their jobs, and the trucks they had built began their transition from working equipment to collector's pieces. What makes E's surviving Brockway 760s and their contemporaries so remarkable today is that many of them are genuinely old trucks, some approaching or exceeding 50 years of age, that are still running and being shown at antique truck events organized by groups like the American Truck Historical Society. These are not polished trailer queens. Many are trucks that worked hard for decades before being restored by enthusiasts who understand exactly what they're looking at. The Brockway Bulldog mascot may be gone from production, but the trucks it adorned are very much still present. Number 1. Mack Superliner. If you want to understand what the peak of Mack Trucks' engineering ambition looked like in the highway semi-truck market, you're looking at the Superliner. Mack introduced the Superliner in 1977, and from its very first appearance it made a statement that nobody who saw it could ignore. This was Mack's attempt to compete directly with the premium owner-operator market that Peterbilt and Kenworth had been dominating on the West Coast and across the long-haul routes of America. For decades, Mack had been known primarily as an East Coast and construction sector brand, reliable, tough, and honest. The Superliner was Mack's declaration that they could play in the big hood, chrome-stacked, long-haul game on equal terms with anyone. The Superliner was the largest conventional highway tractor that Mack had ever built. It was powered by Mack's own diesel engines, the Maxidine and its successors, as well as optional Cummins and Detroit diesel power plants for operators who preferred those alternatives. The truck's cab was wide, comfortable, and well appointed by the standards of its era, with sleeper configurations that gave long-haul drivers the amenities they needed for days and weeks on the road. What made the Superliner genuinely competitive against the Peterbilt 379 and Kenworth W900 was Mack's reputation for building powertrains that lasted. The Maxidine engine family, with its constant power engineering that minimized the need for gear changes, had already proven itself in the R-Series. The Superliner took that proven mechanical foundation and wrapped it in a truck that finally looked the part for the premium long-haul market. The Superliner remained in production from 1977 until 1993, a 16-year run that covered the most competitive and culturally rich period in American long-haul trucking history. During those years, the Superliner appeared at truck shows, earned the respect of owner-operators who gave it a real-world evaluation, and established Mack's credentials in a market segment where the Bulldog brand had previously been underrepresented. Today, Mack Superliner trucks from the 1977 to 1993 era are among the most prized collector semi-trucks in North America. Their combination of Mack's legendary build quality, the visual impact of the big hood Superliner body, and the rarity that comes from a 16-year production run has made them genuinely valuable at antique truck shows and private sales. A well-maintained Superliner doesn't just represent a vintage semi-truck. It represents the moment when Mack trucks refused to be left behind and proved they belonged at the top of the game. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.